Welcome to RGB, your weekly podcast where we discuss the latest technology news, rumors, product reviews, and we put it all in layman terms. This is episode number 18. My name is Alexandre Valliere-Lagacé, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tade Ménard. This week we discuss the mini iPhones, Kickstarters, and we have our first contest to win a pair of bone-conducting headphones. So this week for follow-up, we have a little update on the Glyph project. Last week, or the week before? Yeah, last week, we discussed the new Glyph, which is a tripod mount for smartphones. It's the new design version from Studio Neat. It's still in the Kickstarter campaign. They still have 22 days to go, and they have reached $148,000 out of their $50,000 goal. So basically, they got funded in a few days, and it's still going strong. They already almost tripled their objective, so very good for these guys. The last time they tried to do a Kickstarter, it was a laser pointer thingy for cats that did not succeed. But now with the Glyph, that's their first product that they launched on Kickstarter many years ago. I was not very worried about succeeding because this is kind of like what they're known for, and they sold a bunch and they're still selling a lot of them. So new version, new accessories, even better.
Yeah, Relay is known for making like niche products. If you want, they make a bunch of stuff to make cocktails, a big ice kit, a neat ice kit. Sorry, a simple syrup. I think they call it. It's a little ball to make sugar to put in drinks.
Yeah, but it's not Relay.
The what?
You call them Relay. It's not RGBAfm. It's
Studio Neat. Yeah, sorry, because I was looking at something at the same time. They have a podcast. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why.
I forget the name. It's on Relay. It's
thoughtfully considered.
Yeah, I let you ruin that one.
Yeah. They also make a rimming kit, so you can rim your cocktail glasses. And a bunch of little things. They also have a dock for your Apple remote, for your Apple TV remote. They lots of products. These guys are basically like a two-man company. They are designers. They design. They even manufacture most of the product because they now have a CNC milling machine for wood, and they also recently purchased a CNC machine for fabrics and leather, textiles, anything. So that's why this new Kickstarter has the Glyph itself, but it also has like a wooden handle with rubbers and a leather strap. So they all make that part locally in their own garage. And the Glyph is probably manufactured by a partners of them because they can now make so many because it's a successful Kickstarter. They have enough money to actually manufacture the molds. They need to get those made outside.
Yeah, the podcast gives a nice behind the scene of all the production process and going through the whole Kickstarter project process as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting because they go from like the design phase, they go over the different ideas they had, how they wanted to approach this update, the philosophy behind their design, and how they actually made the Kickstarter. They actually launched it like live on the show. So, and I think Mike Hurley was the first backer.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very interesting. It's a behind the scenes, behind most of the types of campaign that we usually back, but this is very interesting information. So now a little bit about Pokemon. I don't think we will be able to not talk about Pokemon for at least a couple more shows.
So it's kind of a follow-up again.
Yeah, kind of true.
Monday, I think they started hinting at it last week. Nintendo said basically they're not making any money from Pokemon as everybody thought. They only own little parts of the Pokemon franchise like we were talking about last time, and the game is pretty much all Niantic. So they lost $6.7 billion in market value.
Yeah,
It's
which
just,
is about 18% of their stock value.
right. So it just dropped like a ball.
Yeah, this is a particular situation because the Pokemon company, like we said in the past, is owned by Nintendo, but only at 32% of the company. But the other two companies that own the rest of the shares, they're not public companies; they're private companies. So, if as an investor you wanna jump on this bandwagon and try to do some money with Pokemon, well, you can only buy Nintendo stock because the two other companies are private and they don't have any public stock. So that's why investors rushed to this to Nintendo when they announced their success. But they're not making money. That seems weird. I'm thinking that I don't know. I think they probably just finished some financial quarter. They said, if I remember correctly, that they reached their objective for this quarter, and that was including Pokemon Go. So the investors thought that whatever numbers Nintendo had planned did not include Pokemon Go revenues, and it would go way up in the air. But it's not the case. They reached their goals, but they did not surpass them too much. So that's why the investors realized that they probably just overestimated the profits they would make. So they started to sell some shares because it was obvious that the company would not make more money with Pokemon Go.
I feel that it was clear at the beginning that Nintendo wasn't a big part of it, and it took like a couple of weeks for it to catch on in the financial side of things. No,
I think that's the first time that investors are not relying on their emotions to do some decisions. Yeah, because 32% of a company, which is probably half of the stakeholders in the Pokemon Go game, let's say it's 50-50 with Niantic. So it's 32% of 50%. So it's basically like 15% of the whole revenue stream. So that cannot account to billions of dollars in a few weeks. So that's why it's the stock price did not make no sense. And that's why I did not understand it and did not invest in that.
yeah, I was seeing people on Twitter saying like, "Oh, good thing I pulled out. I would have lost 40 grand or something."
Yeah, because there's a bunch of people that just before that actually did the math like I just did, and it makes no sense. So after a couple of more countries, we did not hear any major stock change. So they just sold, and now the price drops. So
yeah, especially I think it's when Japan came in. I think that's when everybody saw that it didn't move and they bailed out.
Yeah, because even though Japan are very big fans of Pokemon, they're not necessarily a big population by comparison with the US. So they were not able to make the needle move even further into the profits. So closer to our homes, Apple announced this week that they actually sold 1 billion iPhones. So all the way from September 2007 all the way to this week, which was July 27, yesterday, they sold, or at least they have, Tim Cook was holding his hand, the billionth iPhone. So it was I think it's a pink iPhone 6.
It's still in the box.
Yeah, still in the box. But you know it's the pink one because there's a pink little thingy on the front of the box.
Jellyfish, I think, or something.
Yeah,
I don't
jellyfish.
know. I don't even know what they are.
Exactly. Yeah, so 1 billion iPhones in less than 10 years. So that's pretty impressive.
So I saw an interesting article go by it's on Asimco. I don't want to murder his name, but it's called Horace Dediu, I think you say.
Yeah.
That's the way you say it.
Horace Dediu, yeah.
He made a comparison to 1 billion iPhones. The most sold car, which is a BMW, a Volkswagen Beetle, 21 million. And then he lists a bunch of other stuff. Music album, Thriller, 70 million. Book series, Harry Potter, 450 million. And that's the closest to the iPhone, which is 1 billion. It's a lot, just to put into perspective.
And you can understand that the Harry Potter book is like $20, and if an iPhone is like $600 to $700 on average, ouch! Yeah, that is crazy popular. So, out of those 1 billion, how many do you have?
Right now, 2.
See, you did your part.
Oh no! How much did I buy it in total?
No, yeah, in total, how many iPhones did you get? Yeah, 5 or 6 for me too. Still around Apple, there's a rumor from one of those investors we always love. He was talking that notebooks players are less keen to adopt USB Type-C as planned. So blah blah blah. He just talks about stuff, and at the end, there's this little paragraph that says, "Currently, Apple has decided to adopt the USB Type-C interface for its MacBook Air, while Asus and HP are upgrading one of their notebooks' regular USB port to the Type-C. Lenovo, Acer, and Dell are still evaluating the options." So is that a typo? Did he mean that the MacBook One, or does he really know that the MacBook Air will be coming with USB Type-C? So as you know, these kind of news just get around like wildfire. It's crazy. So everybody says now the MacBook Air will come with USB Type-C, so no more MagSafe. You will now be able to drop your laptop on the floor so easily.
You don't drop it, you trip over it, and it flies across the room.
Yeah, like a frisbee it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's a typo. I don't think there's much to that rumor. It's from Digitimes, so it's something that's usually in Chinese, I think, or Korean, and it gets translated. And this is something that one of the analysts said, so he probably did not say it in English. So in the end, MacBook was transferred to MacBook Air. So don't get your hopes up.
In other home-related news, Dyson released a new Roomba.
Yeah.
I think you have one Roomba, no?
No, I don't have any Roomba.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy looking. It's interesting. I remember that what the PR persons told me last time I talked to her about it. They did not want to to release a product before they were sure that they could like crank the same kind of power from this vacuum that they do from a regular vacuum, because what she said is that the Roomba is very nice, but it's so not powerful that once it's completed its work, there's still dust on the floor, there's still corners not reached. So what they did for this one, they went overboard with the features. The power is supposedly super strong, similar to other like stand-up vacuum. And also, instead of just using like its movement to map the floor, it actually has kind of an eye, if you want, and it uses laser, like proximity laser and stuff like that, like a LiDAR, I think, like a radar with lights, so that it can map your room, but not just the floor, but the whole, where the chairs are, where the table is, where the couch is. So it knows that, okay, I can probably go under this thing, but not under this thing. So it's crazy technology. It charges by itself. It's from one video I saw, it's pretty loud, which is the usual with Dyson products, but they're also very powerful. So it's kind of a give to give, you know. And the only thing I don't like about this is that it's $1,300. So it's not cheap, and that's Canadian, so probably a bit cheaper for the US, but still maybe around $1,000. I would like to try it to see if it really works as they say. I got bunnies, so I got lots of dust, lots of wood chips around their cage. So it's, I don't know. I'm still skeptic about all those little Roomba and type vacuums. I've got more confidence in Dyson for that kind of stuff because I've owned many different Dyson products over the years, and I've always been super satisfied. So if there's somebody who could do it right, it would be them.
Yeah, their products are nice. They're just so expensive.
Yeah.
For vacuum.
But they're so well made. Like when you start using them, you realize that they actually put thought in every single attachment, every single joint. You realize, okay, this could like get loose over time, but not the way they made it. They made it in a way that it just slides. If you put it like in the wrong angle, it's going to slide back to its intended position, and everything is like super designed. So
it's nerd vacuums.
Yeah, very nerdy.
And just to be clear, it's not the Roomba. It's called the robot. It's Dyson's answer to the Roomba, because Roomba is made by iRobot or another separate company.
Yeah, it's iRobot. Yeah, it's Dyson 360i. So they focus on the eye technology that actually directs the robot to the right place. So this morning I shared on Product Hunt a Kickstarter project I just stumbled on. It's called The Lift. I don't know if you remember, a few months ago we saw a speaker that was reviewed by different technology media like Unbox Therapy. It's a floating speaker, so there's a part that levitates using magnetic forces and actually turns. It's like a big pebble, if you want, and it can turn on itself. So somebody here called Levitation Works actually did 2 products for their new Kickstarter. The first one, it's super nice. It's a levitating smartwatch charger. So basically, it's kind of like a block of aluminum on which you attach your Apple Watch, and when you drop this block of aluminum on a magnetic spot on a kind of a dock, it actually floats about like half an inch in the air and start to charge. So it's like induction charging and levitation at the same time, and it turns on itself. It's super cool. Seriously, and it's not that expensive. If that's the kind of thing that really rock your boat, it's $150 for the lift itself. In early birds, you still have about 156 left. So if you want to get on this, do it fast. The second product that you can get if you invest a little bit more money in their Kickstarter is actually like a lamp. So it's like a cylinder lamp called the Orb. And when you just press on the lamp, which also floats in the air on the same kind of dock, the lamp is turned on and you have some light. So it's similar technology, induction electricity, and levitation.
Yeah, I think you only get one base, and you can use your base to charge your phone, your watch, or the little light, right?
Yeah, most probably, yeah. Because they don't mention like a second base anywhere.
Right.
And there's also packs, so you can get like a 2-pack, a 3-pack, a 6-pack, and the deluxe pack for $750. So.
Yeah, it's always like that on Kickstarter, and you get it maybe a bit cheaper than when it's going to come retail.
Yeah, usually you can. Well, in this case, it's about $300 less than retail. So for like small shops, there are many shops that try to find special items. If they can get their hands on this and sell it for the retail price, they might get some profit on it.
What's also interesting is it's supposed to be shipping in October 2017. 16, sorry.
Yeah, so basically, if you look at the page, there's a product schedule. They started in October last year, and they're done all the way to have working prototypes in their hands this June. And in August, they're going to start tooling and certification. So as soon as the campaign finishes, they're going to actually prepare the different molds they need and everything. And they're going to make a pilot run in September and mass production and delivery in October. So it's a project that is not just an idea. It's actually all done. Everything works on their side, and they're ready to mass produce it. So these are the best products, I think, the best campaigns, because you don't wait a year for the thing. Not like that stupid cable I never received. Yeah. Did you back a Kickstarter recently?
Nope.
No?
Just the movie we talked about last time.
Yeah, the app thing, yeah.
Yeah, app The Human Story.
Yeah. And when is that due?
When was it due, you mean? Because
it's late.
Yeah, it's late. It's due, I think they say a couple of months still.
Oh, yeah, okay. Still.
And I think it's end of summer right now. It was supposed to be December of 2015.
Okay. Yeah, so. But still, I'm guessing that for that product, that documentary, they actually maybe got more people involved, and the end product will just be better because you wait more.
Yeah, and I saw a preview. They sent out previews, and they're pretty good with communicating what's happening and what's the roadmap and everything. So that's okay.
All right. So this week we have a product review. I just published today my review of the, wait for it, Aftershocks Treks Titanium. What is that?
Lots of Z's.
Lots of Z's, yeah. This was also a Kickstarter that went up on Indiegogo last year, I think. And they got about like $500,000 investment for the product. It's a sport headset. So something that is IP55 certified, meaning that it can withstand sweat, dust, cold even. And it's all like rubbery and all sealed. So it's a headset for music, Bluetooth, of course. But the special thing about it is that it's not speakers you put in your ears. It's actually vibrating speakers you put on your cheekbones. So it uses the bone conduction technology. So it uses vibration through your cheekbones to reach your ear canal. And why is that? Because they permit you to be aware of your surroundings at the same time that you're listening to music. So you've always been told by people to never listen to your iPhone while riding your bicycle. Well, that is exactly what these things are for. You can listen to your music and listen to the noises around you. So basically, you just install them over your ears, and they just place themselves in front of your ear canal, just above.
So they rest on top of your ear, and the little prong is sitting right in front of your ear, I think, from what I see from the press shots.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that little part has a rubber tip that touches your skin, and that's where the vibration is sent. You can still hear a little bit of music if somebody is using the headphones close to you, and if there's not too much noise. But basically, you don't really hear too much of the noise if you're not using the headphones yourself. As Bluetooth headset, they are good for about 6 hours of playtime. There's also volume control on the device and a pause, play, answer button for when you receive a call. But the special thing about those is that there's controls on the device and control for your iPhone. So basically, you have kind of two volume levels that you have to play with. Why is that? It's because depending on the content you're listening to, if it's deep voices, like my deep radio voice, you will hear the bass, and the bass will actually vibrate on your skin, so on your ear. So it's kind of like getting on my nerves. So I actually reduced the headset volume and increased my iPhone levels. So by playing with those two levels, you can reach like a level that you can hear well, but doesn't shake on your head. Like those Shockwave ads when we were kids about the Discman.
Yeah.
But these actually shake for real.
They're not too tight around your head?
No, the plastic is quite flexible. You can actually twist them, and I'm not even afraid of throwing them in my bag and like dropping my laptop on them. They're not going to break that easily, and they fit very well on my ear. If you have a smaller head, they provide two little rubbery thing that you can put on them. That's going to like change the angle of where they touch your head, so they would fit more comfortably. There's also a pouch and a micro USB cable for charging.
I think they're really geared towards people that want to do sports with them, so you can stay aware of your surroundings. It must be weird though to listen to music, but at the same time being able to listen to the outside world. And
especially if like you're listening to podcasts and somebody is talking to you at the same time,
right?
You kind of like have two conversations going at the same time, so it's very weird. But once you get your levels properly adjusted to your environment, it's actually pretty easy to just like, especially for music, it's just like if there's music in the room and you're talking with somebody, so you just let the music go and you don't really mind. For podcasts though, it's a bit harder, so I tend to pause the music while the podcast playing and talk with my kids or whatever. But yeah, it's basically just a matter of getting used to them. But the weird thing is that I was not expecting great audio quality. I was expecting like tin can kind of sound, but they're actually pretty good for that. It's not like a $300 pair of headphones for sure, but for $129, they're quite surprising. And you do hear highs, medium, and lows. It's surprising the quality of sound that you get from those little plastic headsets. So the technology works. The sound quality is great. They're comfortable. They're very nice. I gave them a score of an average of 84%. So basically, you can get them for $129. There's a special right now on Amazon.ca for Canadians. You can get them for $114 Canadians. So it's about $40.
114 Canadians?
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Okay.
That was funny.
I'm just imagining like how the people lining up when you're going to purchase those. Yeah, so $114 Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a bit better. I think it's a bit more affordable.
Yeah, a bit more, huh? We don't have 140 people in our house just for sale.
Right.
There's 3 colors: slate, blue, which is gray, blue like a bright blue, and a bright green. So kind of like near fluo. The very cool thing is that, like I said in the intro, I actually have a pair that I'm going to draw in a contest. So you can go on in the show notes. There's a link to the review. And at the bottom of the review, there's actually like a little Gleam contest module for which you accumulate points by doing some actions like following our Twitter accounts, Aftershocks Facebook page, or whatever. And some of those you can do once every day. Like you can tweet the contest to your friends every day and you get extra points for that. So basically, for every action you do, it's a point. For every follow you do, it's 2 points. And in the end, it's kind of like a big bucket. And the more entries you have, the more chances you have to win the headset. And there's 8 days left. So I'm gonna make the contest end on next Friday. So I'll draw a name from the participants, and if you actually do your job, meaning that if you follow the accounts and then unfollow right away, I'm going to double check to be sure that you actually do follow our accounts. So no headset for you if you try to cheat. I'm doing that because in the past I did so many contests on my Blog the Geek blogs, and there were so many people that were just following and then a few minutes later unfollowing just because they didn't want to follow the account and thought that they could game me like that. And one time it actually took me like 2 hours of random drawing somebody from the bucket and then checking if they follow, and they were not following. So I think it was like the 17th person that actually won the contest, because it was the first one I draw that was actually following the accounts.
Right.
So you have it. Play, follow, but do it for real. Any other news for this week?
I think that's it.
No, it's a short one. How long did it last? About 30 minutes? Oh yeah, it's a short one. All right, so this is it for this week. You can find a show note at hipsterpixel.co/RGB/18. And you can follow us on Twitter. My Twitter handle is VALLIERES.
My name is Tyler Menard, TYLERMENARD. Well, my name and my Twitter handle.
Yeah, both of the same thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's
use somebody else's name.
No, consistency is key.
Yeah, exactly. So on these very wise words, have a great week.
Have a nice week.